everybody, it's Scott Hendrickson with MindPlace, here in a continuing series of tutorials on how to create SpectraStrobe in Workstation. Now, where we left off before was we had created a master and slave system, whereas one track controlled several subtracks to create colors, mix of the advanced and basic system of SpectraStrobe in Workstation. So if you are starting here, you will want to go back to those previous tutorials to see where we are. Now, this particular tutorial, we're going to create a template out of this system that we can reuse whenever we need to start a new project. And I'll also show you, going back to our lightning example, we're going to pick up where we started and go forward from there. And I'll show you how to merge a template into a pre-existing session that you already have been working on, and show you how useful that is. So here we are. If you've been following along, then you should have a basic layout similar to what I have here, with one master SpectraStrobe track that is muted, controlling 3 of the subtracks. And you've made adjustments in each one of those tracks so that they will scale and match. So once again, if you haven't done that, you want to go back to the other tutorials and do it, because we're going to use this as a template going forward. Okay, so to use it as a template, we'd already had some color settings here, and we'll want to eliminate each one of those. So let's open our master SpectraStrobe track and clear all the nodes here in the these are the main color channels, but from the main track, and then it'll flow down to the sub channels. So there's a couple ways to do this, and the easiest and most obvious way seems to be overlooked a lot of times in the interface. You're thinking that, okay, I could go under here, delete nodes and segments, but that doesn't work. So actually, the command is over here in clear all nodes under node actions, and it's really easy to do it that way. But some people miss it in the interface, and that puts us back to the full brightness level for each one of the color selections. Now, when we go back out to the main screen, these are synced to the main area, but we do have to go in and open to get the range again, just to get it to populate out with our adjustment, because we were actually running them in a different level of sync with a constraint. So I'm guessing that's the reason. But anyway, you have to click back into sync block and hit that to get those to clear out. And so here we are with all clean tracks set to the system that I've developed on how to best match SpectraStrobe. And we'll want now to save this out as a template that we can reuse. So just save it as a regular Workstation session. Maybe you'd want to create a folder like I have that's named MWS templates, Workstation templates, whatever. I already have one saved here, but save it as SpectraStrobe system or whatever name helps you to remember it. And then we'll use that as a template. So this is basically the same file that I've created, and you save it out, and there you go. You'll have your template to use. And so anytime that you would want to create a new session using this system, rather than just create a new document, go into the templates area and get this session and open it. And then you'll have your new template ready to go. Now you can see I've muted it in the template and already have the screen flashing and all of that. So we're ready to go. Based on this system, we would just start to go into the SpectraStrobe and pick our colors and go from there. Alright, so that's pretty much how to make templates and reuse them in creating a brand new session. Now, if you've already have a session that you've worked with, or you want to work with just a simple soundtrack or a simple SpectraStrobe track to start with and then import the system in later. Let me show you how to do that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back and start from our part 2 of the SpectraStrobe synced with ambience video, and we're going to open the last session that we had there, which was this for me it's named the SpectraStrobe map Thunder. For you it'd be whatever you named it to save it as, but this gets us back to where we were in that tutorial. But we only have one master SpectraStrobe track because we needed to take a break to get a lot of the higher level concepts before we picked up here again. So this is a nice trick here to do. What you want to do to bring them in is you want to import, and you want to import data from other session. Okay, now we do not want the entrainment tracks in this case, and we don't want the engines in this case. We only want the import session content. Now the session content is just SpectraStrobe tracks in that other that we've created, and a screen flashing track. So we'll just go out and find that session under the templates folder and import those in, and you can see it brings in all of our tracks. So now we have the screen flashing, we have the SpectraStrobe master, and the SpectraStrobe slave tracks. Now we already have a SpectraStrobe track here that has nodes inside of it, but because we were smart when we started, these nodes are synced to the ambience generator volume nodes, right? So all we have to do to reproduce that track in our one that's already mapped. Now keep in mind that these tracks are already mapped to this main one. So all we have to do is sync with block for our ambience generator volume and change this range from 0 to 100, 0 to 100, map it, and so then that perfectly mirrors the main SpectraStrobe track that we have here. We haven't made any other settings on it, so we're good to go, and we can just delete this track. So just edit, delete, remove selected track, and it's gone. So that perfectly mirrors the track that we had before. Now when we brought in the sub-tracks, imported them, they kept our color selection mapping that we do to run the system. But what's mapped is the brightness, see, from the master track. So we'll want to adjust the brightness on each one of these. Now keep in mind that we already have scaled the color, and we've scaled the flashing intensity on each one of these tracks. So all we'll need to do is just map back to the brightness. So doing it the same way we always do, select the block. We are mapping instead of to the master track, we're mapping to the volume on the ambience generator. Change our range. We'll do the full 100 on this first example. Same here. Select ambience generator volume. Change the range. Good to go. Back to the brightness on this one. Sync it. Ambience generator volume 100. Okay. So now all of these tracks are mapped, but keep in mind that the colors are scaled. Okay, and that's what we want. And also the intensity is scaled. So whenever we play back, we'll basically be running this system with the adjusted red and a better color balance. Now in future videos, we'll go much further than this. But this gives us a good basis here, and it shows you how to create a template, reuse it, import that template in, and get back into the system of master tracks and slave tracks, all adjusted and controlled from this generator. ambience generator. And again, if you adjust any one of these nodes, then all of these nodes are going to adjust. Now we also have the screen flashing track, and we'll want to map that as well. What we want to map there is the transparency overlay, because we are running a volume from the ambience generator, and the way to map it is with the transparency. So we're going to sync with that block, and same way, go back to the volume and map to it, change our range, and so the transparency will match as well. And then we'll play that quickly, and let's get us a place where we have some of the flashing. Play again, get our screen display up. You can see that that's how our lightning's mapped right now, and looks pretty good. So we have our sound matched. And so one thing you may want to do at this point, because we're starting to get quite a few tracks, is go through and name each one of these tracks as well. You know, this one would be the Thunder main track. This one would be the Rain. Okay, and then this is Master SS. Actually, no, that's a screen flashing, sorry. Screen flash. Alright, then Master SS. Right. Then our red sub. Okay. Green sub. And finally the blue sub. And that helps us to get organized so that we can look at a glance what tracks these are. And generally, just for a helpful visual aid, if I'm not working on a particular node, then I like to keep these out at the colors where I can see them, see what color I'm dealing with. And you can arrange those however you like. I just try to keep the audio together and the SpectraStrobe together. So that was quickly done, and now we have a lot more organized session, and we'll save that out, and then we'll proceed in future tutorials on making this a lot more complex and a lot more involved and interesting to mimic the effect of lightning. So I hope this helps in doing templates and learning to reuse parts of your session and import them as needed, and helps you to keep organized. Some quick tips on keeping organized, which is important when you're dealing with a lot of tracks. So that's the tutorial for today, and thanks for watching. This is Scott Hendrickson, and have a great day.